Good afternoon from the garden and welcome to the first video of 2020. In today's video I want to show you what we grow in the greenhouse to provide us with greens all winter long. This is our third winter that we have a greenhouse, and I feel like every year we learn more about what to grow, when to sow and when to plant for the most abundant winter harvest. We filmed a video about the winter greenhouse last year as well, so I will link to that below. You can go back and compare if you like, but I have not watched the video, but I think that our greenhouse this year, this winter, is much more productive, much more lush. One of the reasons could be that we are having a very mild winter. We had only about 2 frosts, and also some of the things that we're growing in the greenhouse would be fine outside as well, but when we grow them in the greenhouse they give us a better quality harvest, and more frequent harvesting is possible because they regrow better. Since the days are still very short, then the only time that we get to come to our plot is during the weekends, and that means that I harvest usually on Saturday, on Sunday, but the greens that I harvest from the greenhouse keep us in salads for at least 3 or 4 days. So now let me take you around the greenhouse and show you all the plants that we're growing, starting with the hardy lettuces on my right and behind me. I sowed these on the 30th of August, and one of the things that I would want to do differently this year is sow about 1 to 2 weeks earlier. I think that doing that and maybe planting out a little earlier, we planted out 6 weeks after the sowing date, might make the plants grow stronger before the light levels get too low. And another thing I wanted to say was I would maybe plant them a little closer together, but now that I look at the lettuces like Kweik and Arctic King, I think that maybe this is a pretty good distance. Also, we have plenty of self-sown winter purslane about between the lettuces, so the ground is covered and it's well used. The varieties that I grow, that I've sown and that we have this year are Kweik, which is butter lettuce, a hardy variety that we have grown before and it has done well every year. Vailan, and this is a variety that when I shared about it on Instagram, somebody asked me whether I did not think that the leaves of this variety were very bitter. I have not noticed it before because usually we eat the lettuce in a mixed salad and then it's not so bitter that you would really notice it in a mix. But when I try them individually, then yes, there is a slight bitterness, but I do not really mind that. So, but maybe if you do, then do not grow this one. We have one plant of Marvel of the 4 Seasons. We have Arctic King, which was recommended by several gardeners in much colder climates than ours, and it's a really variety that does well here. Then we have Babel, which is cross done by a Belgian gardener, and it got seeds from Belgian friends. And then Parella Red is the last one. I harvest the lettuces by picking the outer leaves and then letting them regrow, and the rate of regrowth of course gets faster, or they will regrow faster the longer the days are. So these were picked over last week. We had a salad from them last week, and then you can see we can harvest we can get a pretty good harvest this week again. So that's the lettuce harvest, but there's much more. One of the the most reliable plant for winter harvesting is winter purslane. Maybe you know it as miner's lettuce as well. And we have it outside. It will be happy outside as well, but the quality of the harvest inside is a little better and the plants regrow faster, and it also self-sows here and there. So I find that I tend to pick the plants in the greenhouse more than those outside anyway. So I'll pick more of these later. Here's another interesting thing that I want to show you. If you watched our previous videos about the greenhouse, then you also know that we grew garlic here last year, and some of the bulbs we forgot to harvest. And now you can see these are the greens of the garlics planted in the fall of 2018, but they're really nice greens with a quite mild garlicky taste, so I like to pick some of these as well and then use them in things like stir fries. Then over here we have several parsley plants. Those are actually plants that I had in my Italian polyculture. We also have a video on that one. And that I replanted in the fall into the greenhouse so that they would, like, maybe they would survive outside, but they would definitely not be giving us a harvest in February. So this is really nice to have here, and like a pretty, very low effort harvest because the plants were already growing outside. All I had to do was replant them here. Then here is a section with our brassicas. Those are 3 varieties of mustard greens and rocket salad. And those were sown on the 25th of October, so pretty late. And I thought it was actually too late, but you can see that they're growing beautifully. I have picked, I harvest them by cut and come again, which means like cutting them about like an inch, 2 centimeters, something like that, above the ground, and then they regrow. And I think that most of them were cut 3 times already, and they just regrow beautifully again. Then a word on the varieties. Back in 2018, I think, we did a big trial where we tried, I think, 9 different mustard greens, and those 3, which are pink lettucy, Bekana and purple pulp, were the most mild tasting, the mildest tasting. And because I know that my kids are more likely to eat the salads if the greens are quite mild, then those are the varieties I'm growing. Then over here we have corn salad, or which is also called mache, the French its French name. And this is one of the hardiest greens, I think, together with winter purslane, so it can definitely survive outside as well. But the same is true for it as for winter purslane. The plants in the greenhouse regrow much better, give us a better quality harvest and a more frequent harvest. And also fun thing, the plants that are here were actually plants that appeared spontaneously outside, and I replanted them into the greenhouse. So when the plants self-sow, they will germinate, I think, at the end of August maybe. And those are the plants here. And I have also here harvested by sort of cut and come again. Like I will take the individual plants. I planted them about 3 to 4 inches, like 7 to 10 centimeters apart, to get good quality large plants. But I have also sown some on the other side of the greenhouse, and those were direct sown into the greenhouse much later, on the 25th of October, together with the mustard leaves. And these are only now sort of reaching harvestable size. I think it was too late for the main crop, but it is a really nice combo with the earlier sown plants, because by the time the other ones will start bolting, then those will give us a good harvest. And the last 2 things I want to show you are the bunching onions here and over there, and those 2 are from 2018 actually. They spent quite a long time in the greenhouse by now, but like if I keep cutting them, then they keep regrowing, so you can sort of perennialize them. I don't know how long, but it's certainly a very welcome harvest in the winter. And then the last plant is over here, and that's land cress, which is in taste quite similar to watercress. It's a little cressy. What's the word? Pittig? What is that?
Spicy.
It has a little spiciness, but less so during the colder months. But when you have like salad mixes, it's really nice to have a variety of flavors. So that's what lime cress is great for. So that's today's harvest. I am pretty happy with it. Like I said, it should keep us in salads for the coming few days. I hope you enjoyed this first video of 2020. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and I'll see you again soon. Happy gardening!